Tina was packing back and forth in the room allotted to her. She looked very anxious. Actually, she had just received a phone call from Singapore. Apparently, a big company wanted to hire her as a model. She had previously attended interviews for modeling at several places, and now she had been selected. That's why she had to leave for Singapore on the evening flight today. On one hand, she was almost delirious with happiness, but the cause for worry was how she would get out of here today. She had to do something. There wasn't much time. Soon, the girls from the parlor would arrive to get her ready. While she was lost in these thoughts, Bratbeer was standing on the balcony watching Sarowi, who was sweating from working in the kitchen, intently. Actually, he was thinking about how to stop the bride. His mind jammed with these thoughts, so he went to the balcony to have a cigarette. That's when his eyes fell on Sarowi, busy in the backyard kitchen. Seeing her, Bratbeer's gaze froze. He didn't even realize that he had come there for a cigarette. He just stood there, staring at her. The girl in the pink kurti and white palazzo looked stunning. It was 7 p.m. The wedding ceremony was set to begin at 7:15. So calmly, Davy told her beloved son, Ridhabrata, to call Bratbeer and bring him to the wedding venue. Ridhabrata did as instructed and went to fetch his uncle. Meanwhile, in the kitchen area, the manager was checking that everything was in order. He looked for Sarowi, but she was nowhere to be found. "Manager, what's going on? Where is Sarowi? Everything has to be perfectly done. If she's not here, how will that happen?" One of the maids. "Sir, she was here a little while ago. I don't know where she went." "Manager, all right, you all do your work. I will talk to her tomorrow." Then he went off to check the buffet area. Meanwhile, Sarowi lay unconscious in the backyard bushes. Actually, Tina, in her attempt to escape, couldn't find a proper way out and decided to go via the back of the house. On her way, she collided with Sarowi, who was coming from the house on some errand. Seeing the new bride trying to escape, Sarowi shouted, "Hey, where are you going? It's your wedding today." Caught off guard, Tina didn't know what to do. In a panic, she picked up a nearby stick and struck Sarowi on the head. Sarowi lost consciousness and fell there. Since the kitchen was far from this spot, nobody saw them. Meanwhile, Ridhabrata had arrived at the wedding venue with his uncle Bratbeer. After a brief prayer, when the priest asked to bring the bride, suddenly there was a commotion. Everyone became curious and went forward. Bratbeer followed, and upon reaching, his eyes fell on the girl lying there, unconscious. "Bratbeer, oh, this is the same girl from the earlier collision. How did she end up in this state?" He hurried towards Sarowi, who was still unconscious. "Calmly, Davy, how did this happen, and what is her condition?" Hearing her, one of the maids stepped forward and said, "Ginny Ma, I was working in the backyard when suddenly I saw a girl lying in the bushes. I went closer and realized it was the catering girl. I immediately called the manager, who then brought her here." Calmly, Davy, "I understand everything, but why did she end up like this? First, get some water. We need to sprinkle it on her face." A worker quickly brought water, and Bratbeer sprinkled it on Sarowi's face himself. After a while, Sarowi regained consciousness. She blinked her eyes, everything around blurry, and slowly recollected the events. She saw a crowd around her, astonished. She held her head to understand the surroundings. Seeing her blink, calmly Davy exclaimed, "Yes, Sarowi, what happened? Tell me, daughter." "Sarowi, Ginny Ma, actually, the new bride was trying to go somewhere through the back. When I tried to stop her, she hit me on the head with a stick, and I fell unconscious into the bushes." As Sarowi spoke, she seemed to struggle for breath, gasping. Hearing this, the entire household felt as if a bomb had gone off. Gossip spread immediately. The new bride had run away. Bratbeer, stunned, looked at Sarowi. He wasn't concerned about his bride escaping, but upon hearing that Tina had struck this girl, he felt a surge of anger. How dare Tina? However, his thoughts didn't extend far, because calmly Davy spoke next. "Calmly, Davy, the girl has run away, you see, and you, son, liked her. I never liked her from the start, but now our son can marry this girl instead. Everything will work out and the family name won't be tarnished. What do you all say?" The other women, standing nearby, nodded in support. Calmly, Davy, caught between happiness that the runaway bride was gone and distress over the family name, was frustrated at Bratbeer. She looked at her husband, who was sitting on the sofa, worried. They had no clue what to do. Only believing Sarowi's words, the staff searched the house but found no trace of the girl. At that moment, calmly Davy placed her hand on her husband Bur Shekar Babu's shoulder and said, "What are you thinking? What will you do now?" By now, Bratbeer had carried Sarowi to his room and laid her on the bed. The neighbors gasped seeing Bratbeer holding Sarowi. In this town, a man carrying a woman caused quite a stir. One neighbor said aloud, "Ginny Ma, now that the other bride has run away, perhaps you can marry your son to this girl. She's quite beautiful, and he seems to like her too. It won't harm the family name." Others supported her with enthusiastic agreement. Calmly Davy, realizing this could be a solution, hurried to convince her son. Meanwhile, Bratbeer had placed Sarowi on his bed and sat beside her. Sarowi, still dazed, spoke to him for the first time. "Sarowi, what are you doing?" Bratbeer, frowning, "I'm taking care of your head injury. Turn your head a bit, I'll apply some pain relief spray. It will help." Sarowi, "Oh, okay." She turned her head back, and Bratbeer ran his fingers through her thick hair and applied the spray. Since he sat so close to her, Sarowi's body emitted a subtle fragrance of jasmine. Her eyes seemed to understand something. Bratbeer leaned closer to her shoulder, took her soft hair in his hand, and continued applying the spray, admiring the softness inwardly. Meanwhile, Sarowi felt increasingly uneasy. From the moment Bratbeer touched her head, she felt a strange shiver run through her body. She didn't understand what was happening. She closed her eyes tightly. To be continued.